Good afternoon and welcome back to the 509 Unfiltered. I'm going to try to talk directly into the microphone today because it is extremely windy outside. We're headed that way and we will tell you more about it when we get there.
Out here in the high desert, the stories are real, the people are tough, and the wind never quits. We're talking small businesses, local legends, and the kind of that drifts through town like a tumbleweed with a story to tell. Welcome to the 509 Unfiltered. Let's ride.
Okay, so we are headed out of town. And how far are we headed out?
First stop's probably going to be about 35 to 40 miles round trip. It'll probably be about 160.
Can we just discuss, my Aurora chasing episode last night for a second? For the audience?
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm out chasing the Aurora, and I base that off the app. You know, it's hit and miss, and it's never accurate, and sometimes it's there, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's bright, and sometimes it's not. But in all the times I've been to that location, I have never heard what I heard last night. So what did I hear last night? I tried to convince myself that I heard a woodpecker. Do woodpeckers peck at night?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, how many birds have you we've seen at night? I think they all pretty much go to bed at night, so.
Okay. So I was trying to convince myself it was a woodpecker. And I'm not afraid of gunfire. I've been around gunfire my entire career. However, when I am out in the boonies, in the dark, by myself, with nature, just the coyotes and the frogs and the geese and the everything, I don't expect to hear what I heard. Okay, so Mike, you listened to the video. What was it?
It sounded like automatic gunfire to me.
Not semi-automatic.
No, fully automatic, yeah. Like military stuff.
Guys, that sounds like automatic gunfire. Or rifle. What the hell is that? Oh my God. Okay, I don't think I'm going to stay out here. I don't know. So then I get on a local website, community page, and I'm like, listen, such and such over here, there's a lot of gunfire. Not 2 rounds, not 5 rounds, not coming from multiple weapons. 1 weapon, lots of rounds. And people are like, well, there's gun ranges out there. Okay. Yeah. I mean, during the daytime, I can hear it, because it's the Tri-Cities and everything echoes here. But this was what, like 9 o'clock last night? About? So people are just trying to convince me, pretty much that I'm anti-2A, which is absolutely not the case. And then they're saying that there's lots of gun ranges.
If you're scared, just go back to the city.
And if I'm scared, just go back to the city. And just really mean crap. Like mean girl stuff. So there's a huge training facility here, like kind of by our house.
Within a couple miles, definitely.
And it's called the Hammer Facility. And it appears to be owned by the feds. And it's like a mock city, almost, is what it sounds like. But they don't fire live rounds there. Not according to their website anyways. Is that what you understood?
Yeah. It's basically just ammunition rounds. If any, I think it's more of just a mass casualty event training center.
Okay. So I didn't even know it was there. It looks amazing, to be honest with you. It replicates every possible scenario you could possibly think of. However, live fire, fully automatic fire does not come from that facility. So then somebody says, well, it's Rattlesnake Range. They have fully automatic sometimes out there. So then what happens?
They're closed on Tuesdays, and they close by 3 p.m.
You know, don't gaslight me. Just don't gaslight me. So we've been in law enforcement for combined roughly 50 years, right?
Right.
Have you ever had fully automatic weapons on the police range?
Me? No, not personally. Not all the units I've been in.
My conclusion is that it's somebody out here in the freaking boonies thinking, I'm just going to cap off a few hundred rounds into the dark. Who cares? Yeah, so I said, I'm packing up my stuff. I'm getting out of here. I don't want to get shot. And some girl's like, oh, you're afraid of getting shot? This is clearly a very uneducated person that doesn't know how far ammunition travels, especially when you don't know what you're shooting at in the dark, right?
Yep, right.
You are responsible for every round you throw down range, period. So I stand on that. So the wind is blowing when this massive flag is fully extended. That is how you know. What do they call those wind dust things in the Middle East? It's like a haboob or something.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But you know what I'm pretty sure it's like a
tsunami of...
Yeah. Oh, that kind of feels like what we're driving into right now. Tri-Cities haboob or whatever. I'm trying to be good too. I know, I'm really trying to be better because I can go off the rails very easily. I should probably check to see if there's some geocaches out here somewhere, huh?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
You never know. I mean, they're freaking everywhere. So let me do that. Okay, because we're total nerds, or at least I am.
You are.
Yeah, Mike's not owning this geocaching business, but here we are. We came across a couple geocaches on the way, so be right back. Could not find it. We think it was gone. We think it was in a flagpole post on a fence, and we think somebody took it because that was really the only thing that was out of place. I think what cracked me up about that one, though, was the description was, I enjoy this view. This view is beautiful, right? Because it overlooks the river, which it does. But it stinks because of the pulp mill and that slaughterhouse out here too?
Yeah.
Okay, my friends, we are here. Okay, so we're right outside the Tri-Cities, not too far, right by the Wallula Junction, right off of Highway like 730 or something like that. I'm not even, I don't know. You can find it on Google. It's about a 1 mile hike round trip, but literally they're right there. They're two basalt columns, and it's just interesting. So these rocks were formed during this cataclysmic event during the Missoula floods about 14,000 to 15,000 years ago. I mean, just think about that for a second. We're here for just a tiny blip of time, 14 to 15,000 years ago. And really, when we're talking ancient civilizations and history, does anybody really know? I mean, really? So Mike's put a new coat on, which is a good sign that I should probably put a coat on too, but let me just show you. So there they are. And here's the trail. Let me read to you what the sign says because it's very interesting. If I were to show it to you, it's not legible. So it says the twin sisters, two sisters legend. The large basalt pillars in front of you are actually two Cayuse Indian sisters. Coyote, a spiritual hero of many Indian legends, fell in love with three sisters who were building a trap in the river to catch salmon. Always the trickster, Coyote watched them, and at night he would destroy their work. The sisters rebuilt the trap daily, but Coyote would destroy them each time. One morning, Coyote saw the sisters crying. They were starving for fish. Coyote promised to build them a trap if they would become his wives. The sisters consented, and he kept his promise. For many years, Coyote lived happily with the sisters, but after a while, he became jealous of them. Using his supernatural powers, Coyote changed two of his wives into basalt pillars. The third wife he turned into a cave downstream. He then turned into a rock so that he could watch over them forever. Isn't that an interesting legend? That is the legend of the twin sisters basalt columns. So we are just waiting for Mike's drone to get signal. There it goes.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, this trail is sandy and it's steep, so just gonna take more time, walk it up it. Wow, it's beautiful. There's some more basalt columns. It's so interesting. So there is a path up here, but it's a little dicey when I've got my camera in my hand and Mike's got the controller in his other hand. It's a little bit of a scramble. It's probably safer to get off the trail a little bit, don't you think?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little more grip, but we're getting there. Look at this. Okay, so yeah. That is. Huh. So we're out recording an episode. And on that rock, can you see what it says? Let me take a picture. And then somebody added the we. I'm not a proponent, not advocating for spray painting anything, let alone natural beauty. But that's fine. Of course, with everything beautiful, the tigers have to come out here. So I don't think we can get very much closer, but I'll go up as high as I can. Okay, so made it. It's beautiful. It's windy, obviously. So much history here. 15,000 to 16,000 years ago. I mean, wow. Between the twin sisters. There's one sister. There's the other sister. And there's Mike. And behind us is the river. It's beautiful. Also at this site, the Lewis and Clark expedition passed through the Wallula Gap in October of 1805. Noting that the area's unique geological features, which they are extraordinary. The pioneers used the Wallula Gap as key passageways, often stopping to convert their wagons into boats to navigate across the Columbia River. So what exactly happened here?
Whatever happened here happened at least 15, 16,000 years ago. And it's even hard to wrap your mind around that. So there's different theories. You know, you have archaeology saying one thing, geology saying another thing. And then you've got this guy named Graham Hancock who put out a series on Netflix called Ancient Civilizations, and I highly recommend it. He challenges and bucks the system. I think that about people. But in one of his episodes, he talks about this area, and it's just interesting to hear his perspective. But here's what modern day geology says. They say that during the last ice age, which again was about 15,000 years ago, a massive glacial lake Missoula, would repeatedly form behind an ice dam in what is now Montana. When the dam would inevitably fail, it unleashed up to 500 cubic miles of water in a matter of days. These mega floods tore across the Pacific Northwest, reshaping the Columbia Basin, where we're talking about walls of like water that are 400 plus feet high, moving at 60 miles an hour. Can you even imagine? Can you imagine that? So the Wallula Gap, which is where these rocks are, is in like a natural, narrow pinch point in the basalt cliffs, and it acted like a funnel for these floodwaters. And the pressure and the speed of the water entering the gap were so intense that the twin sister basalt columns and the surrounding features were essentially scoured and carved out by the flood's erosive power. And they say that the sediment, the boulders, and the water pressure blasted the softer materials away, leaving behind the harder, more resistant basalt columns that we now call the Twin Sisters. So after 15, 16,000 years, how are these things still standing? Well, basalt is an incredibly durable volcanic rock, and the Twin Sisters are thought to be volcanic dikes or remnants of lava flows, likely connected to the Columbia Basin basalt group that covered the region millions of years before the Ice Age. It's really even hard to wrap my head around like time like that. Here I am at 54, and I am just a blip, like a nothing burger in this scenario. All right, so while the Missoula floods flattened the entire valleys and carried away topsoil and softer rock, the Twin Sisters withstood the onslaught, sort of like the last two standing pillars after an apocalypse. Interesting, right? And since I'm open-minded and into conspiracies and alternative thoughts and theories, some people could call these fringe. I don't know. But here I go. So some people believe that they are giant petrified beings. Some conspiracy theorists claim that the Twin Sisters are fossilized remains of ancient beings or even titans from forgotten civilizations, a sort of Pacific Northwest echo of the Nephilim mythology. Other people speculate that the area is like a natural energy vortex due to its unique geology, magnetic anomalies. Though they say that there's no scientific backing. But listen, stranger things have happened. And here's the kind of the part where I tend to get stuck, because I think like Graham Hancock thinks. So some conspiracy theorists believe that these are like ancient megastructures. So they're suggesting that these rocks are like remnants of lost pre-Ice Age civilizations wiped out in a global flood. And they draw parallels between like that and myths like Atlantis, which I believe is not a myth at all. So what makes this area so compelling? Now, whether you believe the legend of the jealous coyote or the quote science end quote of the age mega floods, the truth is really that these rocks are survivors of ancient chaos. They're also witnesses to a flood that was so violent that it reshaped the states. And they're a cultural anchor in Native stories, giving the land a spiritual history just as powerful as the physical one. And that, my friends, is the story behind the Twin Sisters rocks. Right now would be a great time to go, actually, springtime, because it's not too hot. Flowers are starting to bloom, the landscape is green, and the paths are steep in some areas, but not so steep in others. So right now would be an excellent time to go visit.
Just because I can, I'm going to check my geocaching site. You never know. So, the wind is really being a bugger. And you know what? Up between those rocks, there is a cache. We went back up to look for it, but we couldn't find it, and it started to get really dicey, so it's not worth it. It is just not worth it. So we're making our way down. I had to scramble a little bit up at the top, so I had to put all our gear away so we could use both of our hands to get down. But now it's getting a little bit flatter. It's still windy as heck though. So it's a treacherous climb down. A little steep, a little steep. Okay, so we almost made it. So that looks just like something white floating, right? But it's not. Those are birds. We saw them land. Isn't that nuts? Okay, so up there, in between there somewhere, is the cache. We didn't go up there looking for the cache. Didn't even know it was up there until we got up there. And I'm like, let me look. That's something somebody would do. And sure enough, it's up there, but it is not worth dying over, so we left it. All right, so we couldn't cache while we were up there. It was just too steep, but we did find another one, and it is hidden in a fake battery. How sneaky is that? So there's just a log in it, so I signed it, the 509 unfiltered. Roll it back, put it back in the plastic baggie.
Busted.
Do you think a little trinket will fit in?
A little one, maybe.
Very sneaky. Very sneaky. Let's see.
Look at that.
I didn't do it.
No, you didn't do it. No trinket's gonna fit.
No trinket?
Nope. Look at that. This thing barely fits.
Okay, no
That's probably
trinket.
why this thing's busted.
So we're almost home, and we stopped for one more cache.
Cache.
And this was a micro. This one was pretty easy, to be honest. But it's still fun. Okay. So my car is always a mess, but it's extra messy when we day trip. So, oh, this is a brand new cache.
Wow.
There's only 2 people.
What was the last one?
Was found 3, 30, 25, and one of 25.
Just put a new tag in there.
Yeah, not 2, 4, 16.
16.
The 509 unfiltered. Okay, I think we can put a little goodie in this one. Roll it up. Let's see. Let's do a glow-in-the-dark green duck in the green tube. Go put it back. So that one was at a baseball diamond on a fence in a tube. Okay, so major scandal in town about this place called the Moon Palace, where you enter a side door, a red door. They take cash only and stand by. That would be the red door. So we just left the area of the Moon Palace. And the scandal part of it is that it is more of like a, in my opinion, like a speakeasy for cops, judges, who's who in the Tri-Cities, attorneys, and they're all wrapped together up in this shady place that only accepts cash, going through a side door.
Stiff drinks.
Stiff drinks. I think that's going to be the scandal that's going to break loose. The accident is on her, but there's much more to this story than we know. Okay, so we are just about home. So let's rate our outing. What would you give this one on an A to an F?
Oh, I always give it an A. They're fun. They're fun outings. Spend time with you. See something new, learn something new. Although this one was a little treacherous. I think there's probably a back door easier way, but they survived.
So you give it an A?
I give it an A.
Okay, I gave the horse monument an A+, and I stand on that. I would give this in history an A, because it's very interesting and the legend is super interesting. I would give it an A because I spent the day with you, but I would give it a B because it was really windy and I'm not a fan of ledges, and it was kind of sketchy in some places. Walking wise.
Yeah.
Well, at least the way we went, there was a little bit of scrambling, and scrambling's okay if there's no ledges, but there are. So that part, I give it a B. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you on the next one. Good night.
That's it for this one. Want more? Be sure to follow, subscribe, and send us the good stuff. We'll see you on the next ride.